Yeah, I don't feel so disenchanted as a result of this game because it's not one that we should have anticipated going in and winning. At the end of the day, like I said this when we had that amazing victory at Leicester, I said, guys, please don't, like, fans should not be disheartened if we go into Chelsea and lose. And because I mean we even though I understand that Chelsea were on a really bad run, they've not been picking up as many points in the last 9 games. They haven't picked up anywhere near as many points as us, not half as many points as us. But at the end of the day, it's Spurs versus Chelsea at the Bridge. There's a history there. There's going to be a certain level of an understanding from the players that it's an uphill battle. There's going to be an understanding. There's going to be, the players are playing with a certain level of fear going against a team like Chelsea. At the end of the day, what we have to understand is they had the superior team. And yes, what we can turn and say that things should have been done up to this point where our team should be stronger, and we know that, right? But what I will say is, if I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say that there is potential that the appointing of Paratici and Conte was a sign from Levy and his ilk, that they've decided to actually have ambition, then I still maintain that if that is the case, we should still be optimistic about where we are and what we've done since Conte's come in, because the game today, we did get screwed by the referee as far as that. I mean, it was ridiculous that that Kane goal didn't stand. And then who knows what way the game would have gone otherwise. But at the same time, we should have gone into that game knowing that it was slim to no chance of winning it, and that's what happened. And we're going now into Southampton and Wolves. We should be totally optimistic that we're going to beat those two at home. Do you know what I mean? And we're still in a position where we have. I don't care what anyone says about Manchester United. We have the best shot at fourth spot of anyone.
Well, we certainly have the games in hand for it as well, Adam.
For sure. We have the games in hand. We've got better performances. We've only lost one game with Conte in charge in the Premier League, and it was against Chelsea, and we always lose at the Bridge, right? It's a fortress as far, they are our bogey side. They are, I think one of you referred to them as our kryptonite. It's absolutely true. Yeah. So I don't feel, by the time that game was over, like my heart rate hadn't raised at all. And by the time it was finished, it was like, right, okay, that was what we anticipated would happen.
It wasn't a surprise. Unfortunate.
Yeah. But look, Harry Kane is playing fantastically well again. Dyer was out with an injury for a while, came back in and played a stormer as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I thought Dyer was exceptional. So, and we still, I'm really, again, I believe that we will get players in before the end of the transfer window, and we still have Sonny to come back, who again for me is just the hero of the team.
I hope so.
So you know what, Adam, you've had there's a couple of super chats, but the last one's for you. So the first one's from Scorpions for Life, which is how is Brighton always outplaying Chelsea? Yet every time we play them, we're so scared and bottle it every time. Do Brighton have better players? Then we've got another one from Rambro, I believe, just to get through these for $5. Big up, Dago. Oh, thanks, man. The Don. Chelsea and Man City are masters of the dark arts of the professional or tactical foul. What about us? No top four. And then for you, and I'm really going to try. The Americanca said Adam Cahill, always positive in big, bold capital letters. Love him. So you're getting some love. Adam, so yeah, you think so? Who do you think? I mean, Adama looks like it's going to happen. Who else do you think will be coming in? What do you reckon?
I can see us definitely getting. I would imagine Adama is a sure thing, and I can see us getting at least one more. If we can, it would be amazing if we were able to do the Ndombele Wijnaldum swap. That would be incredible. There are other options available to us, and I think that even if they're waiting, like we were told when we got Paratici in, this is what he does. He does all the moving and shaking, and then at the last minute he decides what he wants, and he goes boom and gets what he wants. So it's like, right, that's fine. I have no issue considering the way we're performing at the moment. If all of our work is done on deadline day, I really don't care, because as soon as that gets done and the team gets reinforced, we'll be even more superior than we already are, and I genuinely believe we are the fourth best team in the league already. So I think that the transfer window is going to make a significant difference, even though we're already in the strongest position.
Yeah.
The three comments that you read out there, Brian. Yep. So the last guy I really appreciate. Thanks so much, man. I think the positivity is where we should be at the moment. There's no point as Spurs fans. We've had so many periods in our history where we've had reason to be blue instead, instead of white. At the moment, we should be absolutely emphatic about the situation we're in and just enjoy this ride while we have it, because hopefully, Conte will stay with us for a while, but we don't know how long we got this guy, and he's the reason for my optimism at the moment. The guy who the second comment was what?
Let me get round bros up again. Talking about the dark arts,
the
dark arts, which is so true. We just don't have it in us, like Mourinho said.
But you say, look, we don't have it in us. Okay, great. That's awesome. I don't want to be a dark arts team. I think that, yes, absolutely. There's the teams that do it, they seem cool and everything like that. But I just feel like, when Mourinho was giving out to our guys because we're the good guys, I love that we're the fucking good guys. I'm sorry. That actually means a lot to me as a Spurs fan. When we are doing well, we do well, and we're the good guys. We're not pulling shit like what Thiago Silva did today. Do you know what I mean? Like, Kane has had his moments in the past where he's kind of tried to pull a fast one, but for the most part, we're the good guys, and I like that. I think that the fact that you've got Man City and Chelsea, who are only where they are because of oil money and being sneaky, like, why would you want to be that team? I don't understand why anyone would want to be that.
Don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I'd love it to be Pete Poch when we're just blasting teams left, right, and centre. That's total football, what you love to see. But there's game management where there's times where you need to, if Chelsea are on top and you need to rattle them, you go in on them and you get them off their game. We're now in the time where dark arts has become something. I'm not saying we base our game around it, but you need to have some players in there that will stand up and put in a risky tackle, or will stand up and fight and just cause a menace just to slow the game down. It's a game where, unfortunately, this has crept in. And you sometimes need to do this. So, believe me, I'm with you, and I want to be able to play.
But we do have that. I think we do have that, though, without having to be sneaky pricks about it. You look at Oliver Skip, the kind of tackles that he's putting in and pulling, like he's tackling from behind, game after game after game, and he's not getting himself sent off. He's not even getting yellow cards. He's putting in these incredible tackles that nobody else could do without being risky enough to injure the player, and he's exceptional. Tanganga today, like the size of the guy, he does try and boss people, but he's not doing it to the point where they're trying to pull off sneaky things like what Thiago Silva did, where it's like, he bought his way out of a goal in underhanded fashion. We can be rough without being wicked. Do you know what I mean? That's just my opinion on who we should be. I think that's when we talk about the Spurs DNA. I like that we're the good guys. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel about it.
I like that. I think the key problem for me, especially when you're playing against Chelsea, is allowing them to get to you. Being the bigger person is usually a good philosophy, and I think, like, if we had not, I could see it. When the goal went in, we started getting frustrated. We started giving away fouls, and that's the thing that disappoints me the most. Is then the mistakes kick in, and then you give them the opportunity to waste time. You give them the opportunity to wind you up further. Don't allow it. That's the thing that disappoints me the most. Like, I totally agree that you can absolutely, win these games over with a unique system and a unique way of playing and philosophy, but we do a better job than we used to of being more controlling in that aspect, and not aggressive, but like exactly what you said, basically.
And I think we are going to upgrade on the sloppiness.
Yeah, but it's the sloppiness, is the mistakes that we give away, and that usually comes from especially frustrating situations. And it's almost like we're frustrated because we know we're doing them. We get frustrated with ourselves. Not me. I'm not. I am frustrated, but the players themselves. And it just goes in a circle, and that's when I just see the lack of maturity and leadership and mentality. That's why the game is the game. Like, Chelsea was going to be a difficult game all the time. We've won there once in like however many years. Like, it's not an expectation, but I want us to give it a go. And secondly, if we do come under the rough, like the Kane thing happened, okay, we need to react to that and be the better team, be the better people than that. And it just isn't happening. And that's where I'm like, we can be creative. We can have creative players come in and this and the other. But I want leaders. I want someone who's going to get this to the scruff of the neck and be like, okay, we're 1-0 down, guys. Chill out. Keep your heads at least. And when I mean keep your heads, I don't mean just like in terms of stupid fouls, but also the mistakes and everything, because that's when the mistakes come in. And then we conceded these 2 goals just from not concentrating, basically. And it just winds me up.
But those are the areas that I think are going to be improved on when we do actually get the new players in. Certainly the couple of players that we'll probably get now in the next few days. And then when we start the proper rebuild in the summer, which I'm sure will happen, that's when we'll start to fix those things. At the moment, we've got to rely on what Conte has consistently said in all of his interviews, is that he said, I'm here to improve the team. And it wasn't that he was never told, you're going to get a war chest. We know he said that many times, just to be sure to us, he was never going to get a war chest. So the new players that he'll want to get in will come. We can be sure of that. I don't believe that he was brought in to only to get chucked out or to walk away because he wasn't backed. Yeah. And then, Levy already knows the fans are pissed. So they're going to be pissed even worse if we bring in a guy like Conte only to let him slip through our fingers. So I believe that they will come, but he is improving the team that's already there. Look at the dynamic of the team at the moment. We are 10 times better than the team under Nuno. 10 times.
That wasn't hard. That wasn't hard. Adam, let me reverse this on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get the 3 players that you or whatever players, and we actually sign some pure quality, and I do mean quality. I don't mean just quantity, I mean quality. I will be the first one to go on all platforms. Okay, do you know what? He pulled it out of the bag. We had a good transfer. I will be the first one to come on and say, do you know what? Well done. You showed a bit of passion. And that's what you're saying. How are you going to feel if it's the other way round? And we don't get the players in that you think are coming, and we don't strengthen the squad.
In January or in the summer?
In January.
In January, if we only got Adama, for example, in January, I'd still be like, look, I believe that Conte can still get us to 4th with the players that we have. I really think that. So I want to see players coming in January, and I want to see a proper rebuild in the summer. But I think that this man I think that I feel like he's probably the second best manager in the world. I think only Klopp could possibly have a claim against him, because Pep has always just walked into teams that were already incredible. So I think that the worst thing we can do now, when we're in what I feel is one of the strongest positions we've ever been in, because the thing we have to remember as well is that when we were, the Poch era was our best era since the 60s, and Levy was in charge then too. So as much I'm not a huge. It's not like I have no interest in being a Levy fanboy, but I definitely don't want to be in the position where I'm thinking just because he's in charge it means it's all doom and gloom. When I think that the evidence is there that we've brought in the people that can do the job that needs to be done, not only for the future, but with the players we have right now, which are significantly better. The main thing that I really want to get across is this Chelsea game was evidence that we do have fight in us, because we did bring it. You know what I mean? We did score first, but we were always. We were destined to lose that game. So I still think going into Southampton, going into Wolves, we should be sure of ourselves that we're going to knock those out of the park, especially as they're on home turf. And then it's going to get a little bit ropey once we start to get to Manchester City, Manchester United. Yeah. But hopefully we will have the reinforcements by then. I am hoping that will be the case.
I need to come over to Ireland and breathe in some of that Irish air, because my God, the positivity. Listen, Adam. First half, I completely agree. We performed well. The word I used was disciplined. Disciplined. It was a discipline performance and something to build on the second half. Without a doubt, that first half game, we were talking at halftime, me and Simon on the show, and it was okay. Let's see what we can do. And then the second half, it was polar opposite. Polar opposite for me, for what I was expecting for Tottenham to do. And of course, again, like you said, the first half there is definitely something to build on. But we just, against Chelsea and against these bigger teams, where it matters, we just don't have the quality or the mentality to get it over the line, in my opinion.
I think I think that that with Conte at the wheel, there's almost any team. There's practically no team that we can't go to and say we'll give them a good game apart from Chelsea. Chelsea are our kryptonite. We have to remember, guys. Every single team has one bogey side, right? Chelsea just happens to be ours. We don't have another bogey team. Realistically, where Everton couldn't buy a win against us if they wanted to, because we're their bogey team. So it's like when someone was, oh yeah, the first guy that you said sent in the super chat said Brighton can sort Chelsea out, but we can't. It's because Chelsea are not their bogey team. That is just the way football works, and we know that. That is like, it's the myth, but it's fairly true. We all have a side that we just can't take, and Chelsea happens to be ours.
So Adam, I'll just add on to that because there's a super chat as well. First of all, we're saying it's refreshing from Victor. It's refreshing with some belief. I totally agree with what's being said. Levy and Enoch will back Conte. I'm 100% certain. They are businessmen, and if you invest, properly. Come on, you Spurs. So Victor is like I said, I do this because I have 14 years of blooming evidence from when I've been Levy out to say I've heard these new dawns, these new days, these coming on. But when you talk about Brighton, do you know what Brighton did? Brighton knew, and other teams like Burnley and other teams that picked up draws at Stamford Bridge, if you go for them, that's where they're weak and that's where they're vulnerable. Whereas when we come to play Chelsea, whether it's our bogey team or not, we're like, okay, we see these teams are going for the jugular, and their teams are not as good as ours. We don't go for the jugular. We sit back.
I get where you're coming from. I think there's a certain element of fear. When you have the history, we haven't beaten them at the bridge in 30 odd years, whatever it is. When it's steeped in that much history, that is already ingrained in the psyche of every single player walking out onto that field. And we go to a Man City and we play under Nuno and we beat them. Like it's clearly we can clearly take down the top teams. David can beat Goliath. It's just that sometimes it's written in the stars that there are certain games it's kicking water uphill, and Chelsea at the bridge is that for us. But we've been doing incredibly well since Conte's been with us, especially in the Premier League. This was our first loss. I would imagine from here going forward, we're gonna have we'll probably even have an even better run at this point as we start to pick up steam. He understands his players better. He understands how to use the team better. We'll have the other players coming in. I think that as much as what you're saying is true, there is a hex around specific games, and this game was that for us. So the fact that we had so much optimism and goodwill built up from the first 9 games, we shouldn't let today ruin the faith in what could be. Because I'm still really excited about what this Tottenham team is going to do. I really am. And obviously that's very evident, but I really hope I hope Spurs fans can allow this to be a time of optimism, Adam, based on what we're seeing.
Your positivity is fantastic. I want to try and get some of that back.
You play for Ireland afterwards.
But Adam, thanks for calling in. We've got a few more callers to come, but
absolutely, of course,
absolutely fantastic to see you again, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. But thanks for calling in, buddy.
Cheers, Adam,
thanks for the positivity.
God bless them. Come on, you Spurs.